everybody. Welcome to another episode of What Ted Says. And a lot of people have been asking me, Ted, how do I value my business? What's it worth? How much money can I get for it? When it comes to time to basically buy or sell a business, it's so important that you set aside your personal feelings in order to be able to get an accurate business valuation and, more importantly, establish a realistic and competitive selling price. You'll need to objectively analyze the business, study the current market, and also consider employing the expertise of a professional business appraiser. It's important to have that valuation. Remember, this isn't like selling a home, and it can be a lot more complex. There's a lot more moving parts when you have employees and other things like that. So here are some key tips that I've come up with to thinking about the value of your business and what you might consider before you actually sell it. Let's start with tallying the value of your assets. If you're in a service business, this may be much ado about nothing, but adding up everything of the value of the business includes all the equipment and the inventory, and then you've got to subtract out your debts or liabilities. Think about this like a net worth statement, or they call it the balance sheet of the business, because at least it's a starting point to determine the value of the business. Like if I had to liquidate everything, what would it be worth? But most businesses would probably be worth a lot more than just the net assets. You know that. And it really starts with thinking about two things: how much revenue and how much earnings can you expect, and what has happened historically. So some businesses, you'll base it on revenue. How much does the business generate in annual sales? If you can calculate that and you can give it to some sort of business broker, how much a typical business in your industry might do, that'll give you a better idea what the level of sales are worth in your business. For example, a lot of businesses that are recurring revenue can typically be 2 to 3 times sales, or some multiple. The other idea is to get a multiple of your earnings. Some people call it EBOC, or earnings before owner's compensation, or EBITDA, but it's valuing the cash flow of your business. For example, if a typical price to earnings ratio is 15 and the projected earnings are $200,000 a year, the business would be worth $3 million. A lot of businesses will range to be at 4 to 8 times cash flow. Now, you could also do a discounted cash flow analysis. That's a possibility as well. And it looks at a more complex formula that looks at the business's annual cash flow, and then it starts to project it out into the future. And then it discounts that cash flow to figure out what's called to be a net present value calculation, or you can see this by getting an online NPV calculator. Part of the challenge with that is you have to have an idea what your annual compounded annual growth rate is and how fast the business is growing, what kind of marketing systems you have in place, but you're gonna need to do a lot of number crunching here. And you may wanna consider with your business, what's your geographical location? Have you trademarked anything or patented anything that would be important in the value of a business? Or if it's a strategic acquirer, would there be other business synergies that would make your business more valuable? Remember, you might only be selling this business once, one time only. Do you really want to go about doing this on your own? Or do you want to have a business broker in your corner that can actually help you sell that business and maybe sell it for more money, even if they're going to make a commission? So many business owners, they figure out the value of their business simply by talking to friends and colleagues or being in some CEO networking group, and that is really the wrong way to do it. I always recommend getting a professional business valuation. It may cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 to get one done, but if you think about selling a business for millions and millions of dollars, this could make the difference of putting that extra $1 million in your pocket. I hope you liked this episode of What Ted Says and it gave you some ideas about how to value your business. Make sure, if you're thinking about starting a business, go on What Ted Says here. Check out our whole series on how to start up a side hustle. I think you'll enjoy it. As always, every Monday and Thursday, we'll get these goods to come right in your inbox. Thanks again for watching this episode of What Ted Says.